Hello, critics. This is RatedT.S.M here, and I didn't want to use my iPad to film anything ever again, but I have to because my camera batteries, I forgot about charging them. So, this is episode 8 of Campus Life, and tonight I will be discussing money management. And to discuss money management, that pretty much means I have to go through almost everything I talked about for like this whole Campus Life series. So, when it comes to money management, you have to understand that as a college student, college can get pretty expensive and whatnot. So you need to know how to save money and spend money. So obviously, when it comes to saving money, that means that sometimes you're just gonna not be able to do things that you really want to do. Say for instance, okay, your friends are going maybe on a trip to LA and you have the money, but you also really, really want to go to this religious retreat that's much cheaper, or the religious retreat is much more important. Then instead of, maybe you want to have fun versus, you want to go be spiritual and around with other people, you really need to consider which is more important. And not necessarily which is will save you more money, but which is much more important to you. Obviously, for me, if I really want to do a religious treat, I choose a religious treat over that. Not only that, you need to understand that you obviously can't just buy everything just for the sake of buying stuff, or you can't just buy everything just because you want something. So you also need to consider, when you're living on campus, what things do you really need and what things can be shared amongst you and your roommate. For instance, when it comes to roommates, if you don't do decorating at all, don't buy any decorations. For me, I bought no decorations because I don't do decorating at all. I don't do decorating at my house, so there'd be no point for me to go out and do decorating in a dorm. Just be unnecessary. So I just told my roommate that she can have free reign over that because that's just not something that I do. Now, I did buy other things for our apartment. I bought cleaning stuff, first aid stuff, and all that kind of stuff because that's stuff that we actually need. And I'm more of a buy things if you really need it, or buy things if you really want it, or buy things for the journey or experience type person. I buy things less for because I really want them than I do when it comes to things like trips and stuff like that. I'm more inclined to buy it or go hang out with my friends because cost effectiveness of transportation in a city, and also experience is really important to me when it comes to traveling. Now, another thing you have to understand is classes. For classes, a full load is at least 4 classes in general, and at max 6 classes. For me, I'm taking 6 classes every semester because all of that costs the same, whether you take 4, 5, or 6 classes. The only time when it costs less money is if you're taking less than 4 classes, that you're a part-time student, and if you're taking more than 6 classes, then that's a credit overload, and your university probably will make you tell them why you want to do that and give them a satisfactory reason as to why you want to do that, and then decide whether or not will allow you to do that. Now, another thing we have to talk about are relationships, and that's not just significant others again. It's also friends, and sometimes you're gonna want to go hang out with your friends, just to go hang out, chill, and maybe your friends want to go get dinner, but maybe you can't. You're trying to save for something else, like study abroad. For me, I don't always go out and do things or buy things that I want because I'm trying to save for a study abroad right now. And yes, you could say, well, study abroad is so far away. But most people are just very, very short-sighted. They only think about things that they can see right in front of them, like plans, events, things that, oh, it's so close, I can taste it, I can feel it, I can touch it. That's not the mentality that you should have. You should have the mentality that, okay, this thing might be, and yes, the light just went off in that because it's timed. The thing you should be considering is this thing may be a year away, but if I don't start saving today, I probably won't have money later because I'm probably not going to start saving money later. So I've been saving for some time for my jobs. For me, I save money before I spend money. And if I really want something and I take money out of my savings to get it, then the first thing I have to do is pay myself back that money that I spent, pretty much. Now, that's something to consider. Now, that's not to say that you should never go out or you should never hang out with your friends. My idea is maybe before I go away, I might want to have a little bit of a get-together for people to, send me off, watch me go off and whatnot. But you should really consider stuff like that. And when it comes to significant other, okay, for me, I'm very minimalist, so this is not going to apply to me. I don't really need much of anything, so all I need is time to be spent with me and love. Like, that's all a guy has to give me, pretty much. So, guys out there, if you want a minimalist girl who just cares about that, Okay, not no, like JK. But you don't have to spend that much money on your significant other if you can't afford it. Honestly, if your significant other is worth anything, they should understand that you're a college student and you don't have money, just like them. And they should be care more about obviously the time you spend with them rather than what it is you're doing or what it is that you bought for them. Now, that's not to say you should never do anything nice again, but obviously, you know, try to save money as much as you can. Don't be stingy, but just try to save money as much as you can. And for me, you know, he can save all his money because I'd save all my money if I was a guy. I mean, I wouldn't go around spending it if I didn't have to. And then another thing I don't want you to think. Okay, so when it comes to buying stuff, if you really, really want some candy, then go buy yourself some candy. But obviously, you know, that it's like, don't deprive yourself of little luxuries or treating yourself nice every once in a while. But do consider the fact that you don't always need to just go around spending money on everything. You do need to make some investments, though. Like, I think eating healthily is an investment you need to make, especially if you're not living on campus or this is your first time away from home. You know, in general, you need to invest in that. But obviously, eating healthily can seem like it's more expensive, but it's worth the investment if, you know, it makes you happy, keeps you healthy, and you're not just going to be constantly buying junk food because, oh, you get less energy or whatever from that. Then you need another thing that we need to consider. Let me see. I want to say something about time management. Does apply to money management. Oh, yes. So, time management. When it comes to money management and time management, they do correlate in a lot of ways, in my opinion, a lot of ways. And one way would be the fact is this. Listen, if you save now, you'll have money for later. And not only that, for instance, if you have scholarship money and you have a bunch of more scholarship money than you need, maybe 1 year, but some of those scholarships are not recurring and you might have to take out loans. You could use that money that you got that year for maybe another year, something like that. But pretty much, if you're a student, you really, really need to consider everything you're buying. I'm not saying that you just need to let me document all my expenses. Let me, I spent too much money here. I spent too much. No, but you do need to consider a lot of things. Even if your parents are rich, don't just rely on that. Learn good spending habits now. And if you learn them now, okay, obviously right now you can try, fail, pick yourself back up later. But obviously when you're older, and you haven't learned when you're younger, you're never too old to start saving, but I think it's better to just start as soon as possible. Like for me, as soon as I got my job at the library, that was my goal. Save before I spend. And I'm not saying that everybody has to do that, but save is for you seeing if you can. And because you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. Some people do, but especially if you're in college, you have people supporting you. Don't live paycheck to paycheck as much as you can. And also make some sacrifices. For instance, if you live close to school, do not live on campus. You may want the experience, but it'll save you a lot more money in the long run. And unless your parents are paying for it, I don't think you should even be that cruel to your parents to allow them to let you say like, hey, I want to live on campus, unless it's free. So don't do that. Just be kind to your family as much as you can. And then not only that, really consider, making lots of sacrifices, because sometimes sacrifices are worth it. And if you're able to make sacrifices today, it can make your future and the amount of money in your wallet better. You can have more money if you start saving now. And some people might want to say, oh, I don't want to save now. I want to enjoy life as I go. But listen, sometimes enjoying life and doing fun things like traveling with that's worth the wait if you can. So that is all I have for you guys tonight. And if this does end up lagging, I am sorry. But like I said, I did not want to film on my iPad. It's just I had no choice to get this video out. Anyway, bye critics.